All right, we're winding up module 3 and we're doing a ton of work with rational numbers. So, what I want you to do for today's essential question, how do I use rational numbers? And let's review what that means. A rational number is any number that can be written as a fraction. Okay, fractions can also be written as a decimal. When you do that, it's either a decimal that terminates or it repeats. So we use the repeating bar notation. All right, so now we're kind of bringing it all together here, and we're trying to figure out how do I use rational numbers, okay, and tools, meaning like calculators and such, to solve, and do they have real world? Yeah, just to solve problems. So I'll leave that up there for a moment because this one is a little bit more wordy and not as straightforward as the other ones. In addition, you also need a calculator today because no one in their right mind would do a lot of this by hand, and it's just handy. We're going to talk about what you should do in your head to think about what is going to happen here and kind of get a reasonable estimate for your answer, and then we'll use the tool to see what we come up with precisely. All right, so use this time as well. If you need to pause the video, go get a calculator. And specifically, I hope that you are grabbing, where are we? Do I have it up? This one right here. Okay, this is the one that appears on our Minnesota Comprehensive Assessments. It's the multi-view. It makes your fractions look all nice and vertically when we write them, you know, so like 3/4 looks like that. And it's just nice to see them that way. Okie dokie. So let's take a look at this very first problem in your notes. All right, pretty realistic. Here's a picture. John wants to hang this picture and he wants to center it horizontally on the wall. So here's the information that he has. The picture itself is 32.5 inches long. So notice your picture looks like that. The entire length of the wall is 120 3/4 inches. How far from each edge of the wall should he place the picture? So, you know, there's two ways you could go about solving this. Either you'd just figure out exactly where the middle is and then hope that that's the middle as far as how you hang your picture, but not every picture is made that way. Sometimes they might have two fasteners or two places where you put hooks and so on. So this one is just saying, hey, how far from each edge of the wall should he place the picture? So let's think about this. It's a little more than 120 inches. We're going to take 32 inches out of the middle, and then the leftovers should be the same amount on each side. So in a sense, and here's my approximation, it's about 120 inches. My picture, it's a little more than 30. That leaves me with about 90 inches to work with for both of these together. So then when I divide those by 2, you'd get about 45. So I'm saying this should be around 45 inches. It's not going to be that exactly. It's probably smaller than that, but let's just see what happens, okay? So the first thing we're going to do, take 120 3/4 and subtract 32.5, okay? Now, if I were doing this the old-fashioned way, and please, you go ahead and grab your calculator because I know this should be close to 90, we would say 120 3/4 minus 32.5, but since I'm subtracting, I would turn that into 2/4, and then I would subtract this way. The fraction part gives me a difference of 1/4. Subtracting this part gives me 88.25. Is that close to 90? Mm-hmm. If you were using a calculator to do that, you would plug in, let's clear this out of here. I would use this button, the second function, and my fraction button to type in 120, arrow over, 3/4. Now get out of there. And I'm subtracting 32 and was it a half? I believe so. 32 and 1/2. Now, notice what happens here. Gives me my answer as a huge improper fraction. Remember that you have this toggle button. And you'll say, oh, that turned it into a decimal. Wait, I didn't want that. So here's a couple ways around that, okay? If you get it back into this improper fraction, notice up here, above this times 10 to the nth button, it says fraction, turn it into a mixed number. So you could press second and this button, like that. Or anytime that you have the decimal, you could go second and press this button, fraction to decimal. Oh, that's still improper. See? So then use this one to convert it. All right. 88 1/4. Yes. Now we're not done with this problem yet by any means. So let's hop back here. Now that's these two together. What you have to do now is divide this into 2 equal pieces. So now you got to divide this in 2. Now be careful here because, first of all, dividing is simply another way of writing. Let me get this a little, I think I'll go like this. Dividing is another way, or I should say you can rewrite it as multiply by the reciprocal. Since this is 2/1, its reciprocal is 1/2. However, this isn't an improper fraction yet. So turn 88 1/4 into an improper fraction. Or, if you have a calculator, you can do this. We decided it should be pretty close to 45. I'm just going to show you the old school way of doing this. I think this is 353/4 times 1/2. There's nothing to simplify or as far as canceling anything here. I get 353/8. Now, that's a gross number. If I took 353 and divided by 8, I'm going to get 40 something. 44 and 1/8 because I had a remainder of 1. 44 and 1/8 inches. Inches, right? Yep. Inches from each one. So my estimate was about 45. If I check it on my calculator, I can show you exactly how and why that one would work. So remember I was taking 88 1/4 and dividing that by 2 on my calculator. It would look like this. Take this number, divide by 2. You get that. Turn this into, from a fraction into a mixed number, I get 44 1/8. There you go. Alrighty. So really, the calculator helps you with the computation part, but I need you to be able to explain and show work as to what you're going to do. And oftentimes I'm going to ask you to do an estimate so that you can see what's happening. Let's look at the next one. I use Big Bang Theory because it's my favorite show and it's not on anymore. Well, it is in reruns, but the season ended already. So this is a 30-minute television show. There are 3 commercials, each 2.5 minutes long. And then of what's remaining there is split into 4 equal length segments of the actual show. How long is each segment? So let's think here. 30-minute program. Each commercial's 2.5 minutes and there's 3 of them. So if I take like 2, 4, 6, take 6 minutes out of there, it'd leave me 24 minutes. So I'm taking 30 minus I guess I rounded that down. Maybe I should round it up to 3. I'll do it this way. That means there's 24 minutes of the TV show, and that is split into 4 equal pieces. So I divide that by 4. My estimate is that it's about 6 minutes. It's going to be probably a little smaller than that, mainly because I rounded my commercials down. You know, maybe someone would round it up to 3 minutes and take 9 minutes out of there. It should leave you 21 and divide that by 4, and then you get 5 minutes something. But let's do this exactly now because you have the tools to do so, which is awesome. All right. So we have 3 commercials and they're each 2.5 minutes. So take 2.5 minutes times 3. Go ahead and grab your calculator, or old school way is like this. That's 2.5 times 3, 15 halves, 7.5. There's 7.5 minutes of commercials. Now we got to take that out of the 30-minute show. So I'm going to subtract 7.5 from 30 minutes. If I take away 7:23, 22.5 minutes remain. So in other words, 22.5 minutes of the actual show. Okay. Then what we have to do is take 22.5, and then we're going to divide that by the 4 equal segments. Okay. If I took 20 divided by 4, I'd get about 5 minutes. This is going to be a little bit more. Go ahead at this point and take 22.5 and divide it by 4. We can use our calculator to do that. Okay. Clear, clear, clear. 22 and 1/2 divided by, oops. No, I don't want that there. Okay. Now divided by 4. I get 45/8. Well, 45/8 turned back into a mixed number. 5 5/8. Okay. 5 5/8. If you turn that into a decimal, it'll look like this. 5.625. Let's go ahead and put that one in there. Where am I? 5.625 minutes for each segment of the show. Okay, let's keep on going, figure out what we're going to do. We have a recipe here, and it says Alana uses 1 1/4 cups of flour for each batch of blueberry muffins she makes. She has a 5-pound bag of flour that costs $4.49. It's a lot of details so far. And it contains 76 1/4 cup servings. How many batches can Alana make if she uses all the flour? Oh, good Lord. And how much does the flour for one batch cost? So notice it's a 5-pound bag, but I need to know how many cups are in here. So this 5-pound bag, I don't really care right now. I know that we have 76 1/4 cup servings. Let's do that first. 76 times 1/4 cup. That's 76 over 1. Go ahead and crank that out. Use your calculator. I should be, if this were 80 times 1/4 would be 20. So it's a little less than 20. In fact, it's exactly 19. Okay. So we have 19 cups of flour in this bag. Now it's asking first, how many batches can Alana make if she uses all the flour? So I'm starting with 19 cups. Each batch uses 1 1/4 cups of flour. Okay. So 19 cups divided by 1 1/4 cups per batch. Let's grab that calculator. 19 divided by 1 1/4. 19 divided by 1 1/4. 1 1/4. It should be less than 19 and go from here. So let's do 76/5. Turn that probably into a mixed number, huh? 15 1/5. That sounds like it makes sense. All right, 15 1/5. Let's go. Now, in reality, are you going to make a fifth of a batch? Because your answer here is batches. No, you're going to make 15 batches and you're going to have a little bit of flour left over. Okay. All right. Now let's see what is going on. How much does the flour for one batch cost? So if it costs how much money? $4.49. Okay. And we know that we can get 15 and a fifth batches. We're going to divide it by 15 and a fifth because this will tell us how much money per batch. This is the money. This is the batches. So when you go ahead and divide that one, I most definitely am grateful for having a calculator. Yuck. Clear, clear, clear. $4.49 divided by 15. Now I got to get my mixed number on here. 15 and 1/5 batches. Now stop and think here. $4 something, I'm dividing by 15. I'm just going to be left with pennies. There's not going to be dollar amounts here. It's just pennies per batch. 30 cents about. Oh, look at that. I get a long decimal here. So if I'm talking about money, I'm probably going to have to round this because it goes 0.295394737. So when we round to cents, we round to this second place, the hundredths. So you look next door, it's a 5. That tells us round up. When we write our answer, we should say approximately. Okay? So we're going to, sometimes we use instead of an equal sign, we use a squiggly equal sign. And we're going to say approximately 30 cents per batch. Cool. Let's look at another one. Oh, here we are at Muffin Land again. The 4-pound bag of sugar has 454 1 teaspoon servings. It costs $3.49. A batch of muffins uses 3/4 cup of sugar. How many batches can you make if you use all the sugar? Oofda. So first things first. How many cups of sugar are in this bag? We know it's 4 pounds, but let's see. This is helpful, okay? 1 cup is 48 teaspoons. We know that the bag has 454 teaspoons. So let's first figure out if there are 48 teaspoons in 1 cup. If we do this division, our answer will be how many cups of sugar there are. So let's do that first. Okay. 454 divided by 48. Oh, 9.4583 repeating. Gross. What is that as a fraction? That's the fraction. What is that as a mixed number? Blah. 9 and 11/24. Okay. 9 and 11/24 cup of sugar. I'm going to use that information just a minute. So now if I have this much sugar in my bag and I know that each batch uses 3/4 cup of sugar. Okay, now that's smaller than 1, which tells me my answer is going to be bigger than 9 because I have 9 plus cups of sugar and each batch I'm only using 3/4. So I'm going to get an answer bigger than 9. Let's take a look at what this is going to look like. 9 and 11/24. It's right there. Divided by, and what do we say? 3/4? Does that sound right? Divided by 3/4. Yep. Okay. So divided by 3/4. Boom. You get an improper fraction. When I turn it into a mixed number, I get 12 and 11/18. Do you see why people wouldn't do this by hand? This is why we didn't do a whole lot of these types of problems when I was your age, unless the numbers worked out nicely. Okay, so what was it again? 12 and 11/18. Yes, 12 and 11/18. Now, are you really going to make 11/18 batches? No, you'd make 12 full batches to realistically answer that question. But now it says, what's the cost of sugar for one batch? So we get batches. We have 12 and 11/18, and then we have to divide it by, oh wait, we got to start with the money. $3.49 divided by 12 and 11/18. Oh, these problems are gross. I am so glad we have a calculator. Hot diggity. 349, clear, 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 3.49 divided by 12 and 11/18. 11/18. Good night, Charlie. What on earth is this number? Big long decimal. We're talking about money, so we're going to leave this answer in decimal form. Money goes to the hundredths place. That's a 7. Next door is a 6. That tells us we're going to round this up to about 28 cents per batch. Let's get that written down. Approximately 28 cents per batch. Holy mackerel. Okay, I am going to stop here. I want you to tackle these next 2 problems in your notes, see how it goes, and then check the next video for your answer.